welcome back to my channel. I don't know why I always sound so freaking exhausted at the beginning of these. I'm never that tired, honestly. Okay, so today I am super excited about this video. I am going to be ranking all of my neutral eyeshadow palettes. So neutrals are probably my absolute favorites to wear. I feel the most comfortable with them. I mean, what's new? Don't we all? So I just wanted to go ahead and give them a place, give them an order, let you know what's good and what I don't love as much, but it's kind of good. Hopefully you find this video helpful. If you do, I would love it if you went ahead and gave it a big thumbs up. It actually really helps me out quite a bit. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel for weekly videos. Obviously, I posted 2 videos last week, so I mean, it's not always just 1 video a week. So yeah, I would love it if you took the time to do that and do it. You have time. All right, so let's go and get into it. I have 11 total neutral eyeshadow palettes that I am going to be talking about today. All of them are pretty good. I just did a big declutter last week, so you would know that I got rid of the ones that I actually don't use and I'm keeping the ones that I use. I mean, that's how a declutter works. Everything here is pretty good. Some of them I like a lot better than others, and I'll tell you why. So what I look for in a good neutral palette is I want a good balance of matte to shimmer. So I kind of am looking for a palette that I can do a lot with. I think shimmers really change up the look from look to look. So yeah, I'm looking for a palette that has good quality shimmers and good quality mattes. Secondly, I'm looking for something that can give me different looks each time I use it. A lot of palettes really don't do that great of a job of giving you different looks. Sometimes whenever you wear a palette, it looks the exact same every single time you wear it. And some palettes just do a better job than others. It just comes down to it. Like, some of them have better colors than others. Some of them are more richly pigmented than others. So those are the things that I'm looking out for. I want a good balance matte to shimmer. I want good quality formulations, and I want a good color story. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So starting out with palette number 11 is going to be my Blanc Fusion palette by Zoeva. I really wanted to love this palette. Looking at the pictures of it online, it looks to be, you know, just like a nice neutral palette. It has a good blend of mattes to shimmers. One whole side is shimmer, the other whole side is matte. The gradient of mattes looked really nice. The gradient of shimmers looked really nice. I just thought I was going to be in love with this, and it really just didn't perform the way I thought it was going to. First of all, the mattes just aren't as pigmented as they should be. They kind of blend away into nothing on the eyes, and it's kind of unfortunate. This is actually the only Zoeva palette that I don't really like as much. Most of her palettes are usually really, really good, so I expected, you know, a really, really good palette. Just not what I expected. It's not as pigmented as I need it to be, but at the same time, it does have really good shimmers that are pretty wonderful. So for me, the shades that don't really work are kind of just like these ones. And yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of a disappointment whenever not every single shade works as it should work. That's why that one is where it is at number 11. So my next palette, I kind of was on the fence if I wanted to make this in the nude collection because it's kind of pinky purple, but this is the Milani Gilded Nude. It has nude in its name, and it's kind of like not super nude to me. So obviously you have some neutrals in there, but for the most part it's not like crazy nude. It's not like overwhelmingly nude. And when it comes down to it, it really only has like 3 or 4 actual nude shades that I would consider nude. Anyway, despite the color story, I thought I was gonna love this palette, and again, I just didn't. This is a formula problem. The mattes just really aren't very good. You have to really put some time and effort into building up a good color to make it work. It is workable, so there's that. For the most part, it's kind of hard to work with. Not every color is as pigmented as you would hope. Kind of the same thing with like the Zoeva palette. But I do like this color story a little better than the Zoeva palette. That's why it's up 1 place higher, obviously. That's how ranking works. Okay, moving right along to this palette. This is number 11, no, 10, 9. This is number 9. Jesus. All right, palette number 9. This is KKW Beauty Classic Palette. This is my only KKW Beauty palette that I own, and I kind of like it. It's actually, from here up, it's actually really good quality formulas. It has 3 different shimmers. So you have a light beige shimmer, which I absolutely love. This is kind of an essential for me in a palette. And then it has 2 other like kind of coppery rose goldy shimmers. So it's really beautiful. I actually really like this palette. It is very warm though. I feel like I can really only get warm looks from it. And sometimes I want a lighter nude look. Like, I don't always want a warm nude look, or yeah, so That's its only drawback in my opinion. The formula is great. The looks that I get from it are always really pretty. I don't have to work very hard to get a good look and I like it. So number 9, it's solid. It's not my favorite. All right, number 8. This is my Rowan Beauty eyeshadow palette and it's in the 75 degrees warm color story. So as you can tell, it's pretty, I'll just get it all nice and close. There we go. It's pretty warm, but at the same time, it's not overwhelmingly warm. Obviously, it's only 4 shades, so it's really not a lot to choose from, but they're really, really beautiful. I love the way it just gives you like a nice, effortless look. You really don't have to try very hard to get a pretty look. I mean, I feel comfortable just putting 1 shade all over the lid and that's that. Like, it's like already done. So I love that about it. It's very simple and it's really pretty. If you don't wear an eyeshadow primer with this one, it does crease. So that's the only problem I can really see with this. I know a lot of cream eyeshadows are like that though, so it's really not that out of the ordinary, but that is one thing to keep in mind. I love this palette. I don't know if it's even being sold anymore. I saw that it was recently taken off of the Sephora website. I don't know why, but it's a lovely palette if you already have it or if you know where to find it. I don't know. But yeah, it's beautiful. I really like it and it's so simple and it's just foolproof really. Moving on to number 6. I thought this palette was going to be much higher than where it is, especially initially upon buying it and how much I've used it, but this is where I put it and I feel comfortable with where it's at. This is the Natasha Denona Glam palette. I use this a lot. There's nothing wrong with the formula, obviously. It's Natasha Denona. She did a really great job on this one. The only problem I have with this palette is the color story. So it's every look that I get with it kind of all looks the same. Maybe I'm just not very creative. I mean, don't come for me, but like, I think that this palette that is really lacking a variety and range that I'm looking for. So I love it. I use it all the time. I don't mind it. It's very cool and I only get cool looks from it. But it's a really nice and sturdy palette. I love the size of it and I love the material of the palette. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break ever. And that's a problem that I have with some of my palettes. But yeah, I like it. It's a good one. It's nice and solid palette. I like it. How many more times can I say I like it? Okay, so palette number 6, just a step above the Natasha Denona Glam palette, is my Zoeva Spice of Life palette. This one I was also kind of on the fence about putting in the nude category, but I think if you look at it, I don't know, if you kind of if you kind of like exclude these 2 shadows, it's like that's a nude palette. I don't care what you say, that's nude. I really love the looks that I get out of this. Again, beautiful shimmers, beautiful mattes, has a nice range of colors. You can get different looks every single time you use it. I like challenging myself with makeup for no reason and I use this palette like every single day for like 2 weeks, which I mean, it's not extraordinary. Like I shouldn't win anything or for that. And this one, I got a different look every single day. It's just so versatile and you can really just do so much with this. A lot of these shadows really hold up on their own. So like, let's say I put this all over the lid and that's it, that's all I need. And it's really nice and I think it really complements my undertones. I think it's nice and warm, but not too warm. And yeah, the formula is really great. So I don't think you can go wrong with this palette. It is kind of an older palette. It's not like talked about as much anymore, but it's lovely. And if you have it, I suggest pulling it out and using it some more because it's a good one. Okay, so next, number 4 and number 5, I kind of consider to be almost like the same thing. Like I kind of use them in tandem with each other just because I just really like it. Okay, I guess you'll see. So let's start with number 5. It's gonna be ColourPop That's Taupe. And then number 4 just barely is ColourPop Nude Mood. So these are both 9-pan palettes and both from ColourPop obviously. This one is just a very cool neutral palette that they recently came out with. I didn't think that I was gonna like this when I opened it. I was like, oh my god, that's way too cool for me. And I just thought that like I have a warm complexion and I thought that none of these shades would work for me. And it looks absolutely beautiful. This one really changed my mind on how I felt about cool tone shadows. So I really love it, but not as much as I love my number 4 Nude Mood palette. This one obviously is much warmer. They work perfectly together. I really like the combinations that I get between the two. And yeah, I don't know, it's just a really nice palette. You got nice shimmers, nice mattes in both palettes. I think every single shade in both of the palettes work really well. So I really love these palettes. ColourPop has an amazing formula. They give you affordable eyeshadows that actually look good, so that's a big deal. And they're just really nice, solid palettes to have. I highly, highly recommend picking up one of these palettes, or both of these palettes, honestly. They're both really good. We are at the top 3. So my number 3 palette is actually my Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. I really, really like this formula. Urban Decay, I think, has the absolute best eyeshadow formula. And I just really like the range of this palette. Again, it's not too boring. It has interesting pops of color throughout that give you different looks. It has a nice range of mattes, a nice range of shimmers, and it just looks beautiful. It's so easy to use. I think that Urban Decay is probably one of the most user-friendly brands that there is for eyeshadows. I don't know, I feel like the Natasha Denona formula, for example, that one's a really expensive brand and it's kind of hard to use. So I feel like that's not as useful to some people as like the Urban Decay formula is. So anyway, I love it. It's a good one. I will always love it, probably. I highly, 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 highly recommend this one. Solid, it's good. Palette number 2. I actually just got this palette not that long ago, so I really haven't had that much time to work with it, but the times that I have used it, oh my god, it looks beautiful. I love the looks that I get with this palette, and it's my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. So this is my second Anastasia palette. The first one that I got was the Modern Renaissance palette, and that one I absolutely loved. And when I saw that they were re-releasing the Sultry palette, which this palette was discontinued for a really long time, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sold, I'm getting it. The thing that really sold me was it came in a set and it was like 4 other products that came with it for $40. Yeah, why not? I mean, sign me up for that. So this is supposed to be a cool tone palette. I think it is a good balance of both cool and warm, which is what I always look for in a good palette. That's really what's going to give you that range to do different looks. And their shimmers and mattes are the best. I'm a huge stan for Anastasia's formula. I think that they're so, so solid. And they're, again, kind of like Urban Decay, they're just really easy to use and you don't have to put a lot of work to do eyeshadow. So obviously at the top you can see lots of cool browns, and then closer towards the bottom there's lots of warmer colors. Pointed at a gray, I was like, it's lots of warmer. Different colors throughout here are warmer and some of them are cooler, and it's just so perfect. I think that this is a really well thought out palette. I think that the shimmers are absolutely beautiful. It's kind of shimmer heavy, so if you're not into shimmers I wouldn't recommend this, but I love this formula. It's just good. It's just a good one, and it's number 2. All right, final palette, my number 1 top palette in my neutral palettes. And kind of, honestly, kind of my top palette like ever. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. So number 1 top neutral palette is gonna be the Nabla Side by Side palette. I was really impressed with this palette. Again, this is a palette that is fairly new to me, but already I'm kind of in love with it. It just has such a good layout, and I'm very big with that. Like, I don't want to think too hard about like, does this color go with this color that's all the way over here? I don't know. They're not next to each other, so I can't really tell. But yeah, I like the layout. You can kind of work in rows and you can make a look super, super easy. So I have just been a very big fan of this. And again, it has a good balance of mattes to shimmer. It has a good balance of cool to warm. And I think this palette kind of just does it all for me. Plus the formula is super, super good. So again, it's gonna be really easy to work with these shadows. You don't have to work super hard with them. I think that if I were to recommend any of these one palettes, I think this one is the go-to for sure. I mean, besides the ColourPop ones, just because those are so affordable, I really love the ColourPop ones. But if you're looking for like one palette that has it all, I feel like it's this one, and it's my absolute favorite one. I will for sure be getting a lot of use out of this palette this year. That's it. That's the tea on the palette. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these ranking videos. I could definitely get that in the queue, and we'll see. We'll just see how it goes. Anyway, I will see you at the same time, same place next week. Bye. Okay. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. This is number 4. This is number 5. Oh gosh, what happened? 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. This is supposed to be palette number 6. I don't know what to do with my hands. Right, it's kind of hot up here, yeah. That's what I want to say. That's how I'm gonna say it, okay? Ready? Let's do this again.